everyone. My name is Maria, and I am the national recruiter for the American Canadian School of Medicine. This is my telephone number and my email address. I invite you to notate that so you can contact me with any questions you have at any time, even if it's not pertaining to the topic that we will be discussing today. So on behalf of our dedicated faculty and the entire ACSOM team, I want to welcome everyone today here with us. We are going to be discussing the very important topic of preparing for the USMLE Step 1. We will be having some very esteemed guests joining us shortly. But before, I want to ask everyone where in the world you are. Drop in the chat the name of the city where you currently are located. I'm in the city of Chicago. If anybody is in Chicago, you must note that in the chat section. So start writing down the city that you're at. Additionally, I want to welcome you to drop any questions throughout the webinar, again, even if it doesn't pertain to the topic of discussion, and we will get to those throughout the webinar or during the Q&A section towards the end. All right, so it is my pleasure to introduce our esteemed president, Mr. Kerry M. James. Mr. James brings an abundance of passion and experience to ACSOM, and his visionary leadership plays a vital role in shaping our future and moving us towards our mission. So please welcome Mr. Kerry M. James.
For the introduction.
Okay, we're having a little bit of technical difficulty. Let's see. Mr. James, can you hear us?
I can hear you just fine. Okay, can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can't see you, but that's okay. We can hear you now. So if you want to go ahead, I'll let you know if we have any more issues.
All right, thanks. Well, I just want to welcome everybody and thank you for joining us. You're going to learn more today about our curriculum, about the mission of American Canadian School of Medicine, and very proud to present this school to you and for you to be able to meet some of our esteemed faculty today. Elliot, if actually you can forward the slides, if possible, there to today's presentation. We are a private, nonprofit medical school that operates really in a public-private partnership with the government of Dominica. We have a beautiful $100 million, 30-acre campus that has been furnished by the government of Dominica. The government of Dominica is eager to have really a world-class medical school there on its shores. And it really starts with our faculty who you're going to meet today and our fine students. And I think one of the things that makes what we do special is that we have a social mission. And that social mission is to improve healthcare in Dominica. And we're providing opportunity for Americans, Canadians, and students from throughout the world, including Dominica, to earn their MD in a modern, North American focused curriculum. We're fully accredited with
storms here and there. I don't know if we've lost.
I'm sorry, I can hear you again. I'm so sorry, Maria. I'm here in the United States, but apparently my internet is unstable. So go figure. But I was just mentioning the overview of our schools is really we have a social mission to improve healthcare in Dominica. And we're going to really focus today on what we're doing to prepare our students for Step 1. I think there's some things that are very special about our curriculum, its focus, and how we test our students with NBME questions exclusively when it comes to the grading of our students. We have a prep program and we have a focus there right leading up to Step 1 and all the kinds of supports you expect from your medical school. But I think what makes us really special is that the whole way through, at the end of every module throughout the first 4 semesters of your curriculum, you're being tested with NBME test questions. You don't have to guess how you're going to perform on Step 1. It's just performing at a level that's expected for passing Step 1 is something that you do every single week, every single month as you work through our curriculum. So we really are taking the guesswork out of that. trying to pass your today to take your U.S. licensing exams. If we can go to the slide for showing the percentage of physician hopefuls that take their MCAT. The AAMC has put out a number of reports saying that if you score in the top 75th percentile or the top 3/4 of those taking the MCAT, you have a 95% chance of graduating from a U.S. medical school. Well, that's great. I mean, what's that telling us? That's telling us that the vast majority of people that apply to medical school in the U.S. are qualified to go to school in the U.S. Certainly, at least at the standpoint of being able to pass their classes, go through all their clinical training, and graduate. Of course, one of the problems is that there's fewer than one seat in two. There's fewer than 50% of those hopefuls will actually secure a seat in medical school. And each year there's about 80,000 individuals between the U.S. and Canada that are taking their licensing exams and their MCAT, their preparatory exams to get into medical school. And fewer than 40,000 of those together are actually going to earn a seat in medical school that year. So the vast majority are qualified, but the reality is that seats are scarce, and there's literally tens of thousands of highly qualified students that just aren't going to have a seat in medical school. It's just a numbers game. It's not about your qualifications. It's not about how hard you worked. It's not about your dream of being a physician since you're 5 years old and all the volunteer work you did. There's just simply not enough seats. And so what we have endeavored to do is to really, we don't want people to have to compromise on their dreams here. People have long looked at international medical education to help, provide opportunity because there's not enough seats in North America. The problem is that many turn to for-profit education. They turn to a number of other schools that, other types of curriculum that maybe don't mirror really exactly what's happening in the United States. International medical education and graduates are very important to the United States. A quarter of our physician workforce was trained overseas, and fully 20% now, or actually 18%, earned their degree from school in the Caribbean. With us, it's 2 years outside the United States, a little less actually, about 20 months. We have a fully clinical curriculum. We only teach using physicians, all right? So your learning team can't have more than 10 students in it. Most have 4 or 5 at the current time. And you're taught by a practicing physician. And these practicing physicians have been trained extensively to teach in small group education. All the lectures and the notes and the lesson plans, they're all available online. You have them in Canvas, in our learning management system from orientation week for the next 4 years of medical school. Everything's right there on your computer in terms of information collection. That's not what the focus is anymore. The focus is on helping you integrate this information and make sure that as you learn it, it's in a clinical format, a clinical setting. And so your mornings are not spent sitting there in hours of lecture. You may have a focusing lecture from a visiting faculty member that's come down from Yale or Wisconsin or Penn State or University of Western Ontario. We bring in a lot of medical dignitaries that have focusing lectures here at the start of each of our modules. But really the majority of that morning is going to be spent with the leader of your learning group, right? You're going to be there discussing cases, working through clinical data, working through the lesson plans. And so it's just it's just a totally different way of learning. And we put our faculty through the Johns Hopkins curriculum development course. We put them through the Stanford faculty development course. Dr. Jeff Wong leads those efforts in terms of training our faculty. They train for anywhere from 6 to 9 months before they're fully certified to come and teach in our small group classrooms. Dr. Wong has most recently been the Associate Dean for Education at Penn State. So we it's not just saying that we're U.S. focused, but I think we've really attracted the best and the brightest here and the most experienced to our team, whether it's from faculty development to the leadership that we have. We look at our dean, Dr. Ahmadi, who's been a program director for many years at Yale, still practices there, and he's really just, I think, academically is making sure that our students have everything they need to excel.
think, Carrie, can you hear us? We lost you again.
Yes. Okay. No, I'm here. I was going to. So that's was my introduction. If you could introduce Dr. White, and he can take us through our mission and vision, please. Thank you.
Dr. White, welcome to the webinar. I hope that you are able to join us. I know there's a very bad storm in Dominica. Oh, there, Miss Dr. White, welcome.
Good evening, Maria. Good evening, Kerry, all of our faculty and everyone joining us online. You're correct, I am in Dominica, and currently we have stable internet, so hopefully it'll stay that way for a while. So yeah, my name is Stan White. I'm the Senior Associate Dean for Student Affairs, as well as Campus Dean here in Dominica. My role of Student Affairs Dean is really to oversee the academic development and success of all of our students studying in our curriculum. And as Dean of Campus, I take care of a lot of the academic operational aspects of the way the school works. So I have over 30 years of leadership experience, both in basic biomedical research and in medical education. I started life as a nephrologist and slowly transitioned into becoming a medical educator with a particular interest in the impact that new technologies can have on teaching and learning outcomes. So I've got a lot of experience in this area, and it was a real exciting pleasure for me to be able to join this school when we opened it last year. So Maria, if you can go on to the next slide. So as Kerry said, you know, our mission and vision, we feel is unique in that we think we have a pretty unique approach to medical education. Our curriculum has been devised and designed by physicians, is being taught by physicians for future physicians. So we moved away from large classroom didactic lecture approaches to using small class sizes with which we combine a flipped approach. So that means that as students, you're given work to do in advance of every class. And then when you join the small class, and you'll be working in groups of 8 to 10 students for 1 or 2 faculty who are all MDs, you come to that class equipped with some basic factual knowledge, which enables you to encounter and solve some of the clinical problems that will be presented to you in the small class sizes. Now, in those class sessions. Now, those classes are conducted by our on-island campus faculty. Some of you will be meeting in a few minutes. But we combine that with an active program of visiting faculty who are all MDs, as Kerry James mentioned, from Yale, Penn State, and a variety of other really top-class medical education institutions. They come down and usually do a morning lecture with you to set the scene for what's going to be happening. You then break into your class for the problem-solving approach to the curriculum itself. The other benefit that these visiting faculty bring us is the more sort of career-based application of why you're studying, beginning to prompt your interest in development into particular specialities. And many of these visiting faculty conduct professional development classes like suture clinics, working in a GI imaging area, and things like that. So the whole faculty involvement is one of an integrated, clinically relevant scientific approach. And the early clinical exposure begins really in the first day of classes. And you'll hear a lot more about that from our faculty. But as Mr. James said, all of our teaching is geared to your success in being able to enter years 3 and 4, which are our clinical clinical rotation years. Now, to do that, you have to pass step 1. And the focus of what our faculty are going to be telling you about is how we do that in our curriculum. But very importantly, as Mr. James mentioned, our summative assessments, which are required to progress through our modular course structure, are all questions set by the National Board of Medical Examiners. And those are the closest we can get to real step 1 questions. So the whole ethos of our teaching and mentorship is to get you prepared to succeed. Now, the other element of our mission is our social mission. As Mr. James said, we have a partnership with the government of Dominica, and through our social medicine program, which is being directed by Dr. Loy Wiley, we are actively engaging with the community in Dominica in terms of propagation of health education and health screening in the community in Dominica. And importantly, we're using our interaction with our social partners, the clinical teams in Dominica, to inform how we conduct those various outreach programs. There's an outreach and a research project with the Kalinago people in Dominica, who are one of the very few indigenous Amerindian populations in the Caribbean. So that's the mission and vision. If you move to the next slide, Maria. Very importantly, if you're considering getting to a medical school, you want to be able to go to the US and or Canada eventually to practice. So as Mr. James said, we have accreditation from 2 international accreditation agencies. The first is the Independent Agency for Accreditation and Rating, IAAR. We are fully accredited by the IAAR right through to 2028. And we are in a continuous process of preliminary accreditation from the Accreditation Commission on Colleges of Medicine, the ACCM. Now, the important point is that both of those accreditors are recognized by the World Federation of Medical Education, the WFME. So if you navigate on the web to the World Directory of Medical Schools, you will see us entered there as an active medical school. And importantly, you will also see that we are in possession of an ECFMG sponsorship note. That's all important for you as a prospective or a current student, because it means that you can, as a student, register to take the USMLE Step 1 and Step 2 licensing examinations, and eventually you will be able to enter for residency match in the US under the NRMP and the equivalent process in Canada. So we are a fully accredited school that, if you are academically successful, will lead to matching career possibilities in the US and Canada. Next slide, please, Maria. And this, in a way, is a sort of favorite slide of mine, because we're doing all this in one of the most beautiful locations on planet Earth. Dominica is a truly unique location. It's a small island with a population of about 70,000 people. It's a very mountainous island covered in virgin rainforest. We have 365 rivers which feed down into the sea from the mountains, and en route deposit large, beautiful lakes of water, waterfalls. And it's an island that, if you want to explore nature, you couldn't better. We're a UNESCO site for whale watching. We have some of the most unique whale populations in the world in the waters around Dominica. You can go scuba diving, you can snorkel, you can hike in the rainforest. Whatever you choose to do in terms of interacting with the island, but also importantly interacting with the island population, which is a very, very welcoming, pleasant and happy population, which is reflected in the very low crime rates which Dominica experiences, by far the per head of population the lowest in the Caribbean. So it's a wonderful place to come and study and experience an international medical education experience. So next slide, Maria. Okay,
Right.
so I'm going to hand back to you now. You're going to handle the rest of it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Maria, thank you.
All right. So next, I want to welcome Dr. Arvind Bagapur. He is the founder of the American Canadian School of Medicine. Hello there. And I understand
Hi,
you
everybody.
are in Miami on your way to Dominica to join the upcoming white coat ceremony. So that's very exciting. I'm going to turn it over to you so you can introduce yourself further and tell us about your insights.
Hi, everybody. Nice to meet everybody here. I'm in transit, so I normally don't take the webinar directly from a hotel lobby, but it's a great pleasure to meet everybody. I'm just going to quickly give you guys a little bit of my background and then why this school exists. And you're talking to someone that's walked in the same steps that you're about to walk into. I'm the only person that's went to a Caribbean medical school. I went to Ross University School of Medicine, and then went to a U.S. residency, did a fellowship at Cleveland Clinic. I'm a vascular and interventional radiologist, board certified radiologist, and now I was in private practice now for about 8 years after a fellowship. So I've been through the whole process, and through that process, no one has come back and given back as a practicing physician to the Caribbean where for education. And I wanted to do things a lot different because I went through this pathway. I saw what happened to my friends. I saw what happened was good. I saw what happened bad. I've been through the ups and downs of residency and fellowship and clinical practice and all the different types of patient care. My specialty is hepatobiliary oncology, in fact. So I deal with cancer patients, and I'm going to be speaking about that at the white coat ceremony coming up. But what I've done here is I created the very first nonprofit medical school in the Caribbean. And why is that important? Because you don't want to be in student loan debt. You should not be paying $75,000 to $100,000 a year after the fees for a quality education. And in fact, you should get a better education than any of the other Caribbean schools. You should get an education that's equivalent to going to Canada or the United States at the best institutions. And it should be different. It shouldn't be taught in large classrooms where you're going to sit there and get distracted by your phone or get taught by potentially, PhDs or nothing wrong with PhDs, but I want you to be taught by doctors. So, and get taught by, I got taught by a veterinarian for pathology, and I went to a big medical school. So I don't think that's acceptable. So I changed the way that this is going to be done. These are some pictures of me right out of medical school with some of my nurses and staff. And this is more recent pictures of me doing procedures. I also do trauma and a lot of different types of things. That's pretty cool. But to get back to it, I wanted you to get the same education that your U.S. counterparts and Canadian counterparts get, and at a low cost, where we can subsidize it a lot and make it a nonprofit. So that's basically the essentials of it. I lived in Dominica. This very campus is where I went to school, Ross University School of Medicine, which was maybe the largest or second largest medical school in the world. It's owned by a publicly traded company. So are several other of the Caribbean medical schools, or owned by private equity. I don't think they have a role in your medical education. They don't have a role in our healthcare system. I want to provide high quality education to everybody. So we have small classrooms. That means you get one faculty member that's a medical doctor, an MD, teaching you all day, 10 students in one classroom. Generally, it's like 5 to 8 actually. And then you have a morning lecture from an expert, from peers of mine, peers of the dean, who come down and teach. And they teach at big institutions and they practice at massive institutions like Yale, University of Wisconsin, you name it, University of Texas, the list goes on. You can go on the website, there's about 40 of us that do that teaching. And they come down and we come down, we teach you about a topic that's expert and that's all clinically related. So when I was in medical school, everything was taught by like systems. So I would learn like heart and then, I don't know, brain, whatever. And then they do the anatomy, physiology, histobiology, histochemistry, biochemistry, you name it, all that stuff. And it was like very difficult to retain that information because it wasn't clinically based. So what we do is everything is clinically based. You're going to learn things on a clinical basis, just as if you were going to go practice medicine. the day that you start your clinical rotations, you will be very well prepared compared to anybody else, if not better. And I can guarantee you that if you do the work that we've created and the way that we created the curriculum, you're going to be an excellent physician and you're going to have a great time doing it. So I kind of was all over the place here. Sorry, I'm in transit and I'm heading to Dominica. So let me tell you a little bit about my experience living in Dominica. Dominica is a beautiful place. It's safe. The people are wonderful and kind, generous, extremely safe. The campus housing is all around campus. So we all have the privilege of going to school here where you have a state-of-the-art campus. And the previous institution, like I said, they built like $100 million campus. And we took it and we improved it. And we do it in partnership with the government. And so you're going to have unique opportunities like Dr. White was talking about, doing healthcare clinics and things like that. And then living down there is going to go by so fast because you're going to be in school all day and learning. But from there, you're going to take your board exams. You'll take your USMLE step ones or your Canadian equivalents. And when you're done with that, you go into your clinical sites. So right now our clinical rotations are in Los Angeles, but we're working on adding additional clinical rotations at elite places. Our white coat speakers are from institutions that are, like I mentioned earlier, big U.S. institutions. So probably another place in Florida and in Connecticut. I can't announce them yet because they haven't happened, but we have a lot of good things coming for you. In Los Angeles, you'll be at a place, Hollywood Presbyterian. All these places have different specialties.
Are we losing? Sorry, Dr. Bagpour, I think we're losing you. I know you're in the airport, so you might have some technical difficulty. Can you hear us?
Yeah. All the time.
So Dr. Bagpour, you're coming in really choppy. I don't know if you can hear me, but okay, so I think we're going to bring Dr. Bagpour back in a little bit. We're going to go ahead and jump into the preparation for the USMLE Step 1 exam. I would like to introduce Ms. Elena Piatenko. Welcome, Elena. Thank you for joining us so much. I'm going to go ahead and allow you to go ahead and let us know what your background is. And joining us also would be Sophia, Michael, and Michael. So go ahead and start, Elena.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I'm Elena Pitenko. I'm a medical doctor and a faculty member here at ACSOM. Also, I passed the USMLE. And so today I'm going to talk about what USMLE Step 1 actually is, because it's going to be the first big exam on your journey of becoming a physician. And the Step 1 exam is designed to test your understanding of the basic sciences. In other words, they will check how well you can apply core concepts to the real world scenarios, to the real life, like how well you can make diagnoses and treat patients based on the basic sciences. Step 1 covers different topics and different subjects, such as anatomy, physiology, microbiology, pathology, pharmacology, biochemistry, and genetics. And it's all not about just memorizing facts, because those questions combine different subjects and topics. Also, Step 1 exam is made up of multiple choice questions, which are presented as clinical vignettes. Clinical vignettes are short clinical scenarios that will push you in real world situations. The Step 1 exam is broken down into 7 one-hour blocks containing 40 questions each. So it's all about staying focused to get through all of the questions in the time allowed. In the preparation for Step 1, The good approach includes not only reviewing the material, but mostly practicing questions and managing time effectively. And we've structured our program to ensure that you are well prepared. And we can go to the next slide. I think Dr. Michael Kondratyuk, who is the chair of the curriculum committee, can present us our curriculum.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Michael Kondratyuk, and I'm a faculty member and also chair of the curriculum committee. And also, I passed step 1 USMLE exam. So today, I would like to talk about our curriculum and how our sessions looks like. So our curriculum is designed to meet international medical education standards and encompasses all key topics outlined in the USMLE Step 1 content document. Our curriculum is structured around organ systems approach, so it is not discipline-based, and with each module dedicated to a specific organ system. Yes, major subjects like anatomy or Introduction to Clinical Medicine, although offered as separate courses, anyway, they are integrated into this modular system. For instance, while studying the, let's say, cardiovascular system, students learn about the heart and blood vessels anatomy. And in the Introduction to Clinical Medicine course, they cover topics such as physical examination, auscultation, EKG, and so on. Our students take USMLE type questions on a daily basis and at the end of each week as formative assessment, which means assessment for learning. So it's for our students to identify their possible gaps. And at the end of each module, we have USMLE type summative assessments as well. Moreover, we have a dedicated module for targeted USMLE Step 1 preparation and the development of test-taking skills. So how our sessions look like? In most of our classes, we use a case-based learning approach. This technique encourages students to apply their knowledge to real-world scenarios, bridging the gap between basic sciences and clinical practice. It helps students understand the relevance of their studies as they apply their theoretical knowledge directly right now in the classroom. This method fosters critical thinking and problem solving as students work through complex patient cases. Additionally, it's an active learning technique that engages students, making learning more interactive and dynamic. Another key feature of our educational process is the small group setting and low faculty to student ratio. Small groups promote teamwork and communication skills, which are essential for medical practice. This approach allows students to learn from each other, share diverse perspectives, and clarify any misunderstandings. Case-based learning and small group discussions foster an integrated understanding by bringing together information from different disciplines and organ systems as students discuss and resolve complex clinical cases together. So why foundational sciences are like why they play a crucial role in preparing for clinical scenarios and for USMLE Step 1. A solid understanding of foundational sciences provides the essential knowledge base needed to understand disease mechanisms, diagnostic processes, and treatment strategies. At our institution, at our school, students begin applying this knowledge from day one through our case-based learning and small group discussions, as I mentioned above. This approach helps them integrate theoretical knowledge with practical application early on. A strong grasp of foundational sciences can significantly ease students' academic journeys, enabling them to explain clinical symptoms from a pathophysiological perspective. So instead of memorizing each symptom independently, students learn to understand the underlying mechanism of diseases that lead to various clinical manifestations, making the learning process more intuitive and efficient. So please, next slide, and Dr. Safia Bilagova will talk about it.
Hello, everyone. My name is Safia. It's a pleasure to meet you all, and I'm excited to share with you the tools that we use at ACSOM for preparing our students for the USMLE Step 1. So our primary resource is the NBME platform. So actually, NBME platform, it's an organization that plays a key role in developing the USMLE exam itself and questions for this exam. And also, NBME offers a range of assessment tools for both individual and institutional use. And one of the key tools we use from this NBME platform is called customized assessment services that we use for summative assessment at the end of each module. This allows us to ensure that all questions from these exams align with our curriculum and are comprehensively covered in each module. We use this tool for both formative and summative assessments, as I've already mentioned. That gives students ample practice and ensuring thorough preparation for the USMLE Step 1. The subjects that are covered by NBME include, I will list all of them: anatomy, biochemistry, embryology, genetics, histology, immunology, microbiology, pathology, pathophysiology, pharmacology, and physiology. So basically everything you need for USMLE Step 1. And also it covers various systems, too many to list here, as there are more than 20 of them. But just to give you an idea, they are divided into general principles like genetics, immunology, biochemistry, social sciences, microbiology, and high-yield organ systems, such as cardiovascular system, dermatology, endocrine system, psychiatry, neurology, and all others. Everything is comprehensively covered to prepare our students thoroughly. And we can go to the next slide, please. So beyond the NBME, we also utilize other valuable resources to enhance our students' learning experience. The main ones include Lecturio. So Lecturio is the platform that offers insightful concept pages, and most important is lectures from high-yield standards experts worldwide. So you can watch videos from a lot of professors. It's a fantastic resource for deepening understanding and reinforcing key concepts. Also, Osmosis. I think some of you have already known this platform because it's known for its engaging animated videos, and it's highly appreciated by students because it simplifies complex topics. And it's a great tool for visual learners and makes studying more enjoyable and interesting. The next platform is TrueLearn. We use TrueLearn primarily for formative assessment because it's a QBank that students can use, and they actually use individually to test their knowledge and get familiar with the question styles that they will encounter on the USMLE Step 1. And last but not least is AMBOSS. AMBOSS is a favorite among faculty and students at ACSOM because AMBOSS provides comprehensive concept pages, videos, and a lot of other resources. It's one of our primary platforms for pre-works to be ready for upcoming classes. And the detailed explanations and clinical context it offers are valuable for understanding and retaining information. The most important thing is that all these platforms contain USMLE type questions that we use for formative assessment, and students and you in the future can utilize for pre-works, for practice, and for exam preparation. They help students identify their strengths and areas for improvements, providing a well-rounded preparation for the USMLE Step 1. So I hope that this short overview of our resources gives you a more clear understanding of how we support students in their journey toward acing and successing in the USMLE Step 1. So we are always here to help and guide you through these important phases of your medical education. Thank you. And now, Dr. Michael will introduce you into effective study strategies.
Thank you, Sofia. Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Voblikov. I'm a family physician by training, and I also passed USMLE exams. So I will share some tips on effective study strategies. And so let's start with this point that's it's essential during your preparation for Step 1. It's essential to have a well-structured schedule and routine. You need to plan how much time each day you'll spend reviewing theory, solving and analyzing practice questions, and reviewing previously covered material. However, in my opinion, the central aspect of preparation should be, of course, solving the practice questions. And because of that, I would say that the most important thing around which you build your study schedule is how much practice questions you can solve per day. And because in our medical school in ACSOM, our students, they start to solve the practice questions from like week 1. In our medical school, you will be well ready and you will know how much questions you can solve per day closer to the exam date. And you can then build your effective study schedule from that. And of course, we as a faculty always ready to help with creating your own individual and like the study schedule which fits you the best. So regarding recommended resources and tools for preparation, there is currently a vast array of options available, and it can sometimes be overwhelming. But it's important to understand that the choice of resources is very individual and depends on which learning style suits you best. Therefore, we have many different resources, which Sofia just described. But me personally, I would recommend trying different resources, obviously, during your medical school to see what works best for you. So over the course of your studies, you might like choose maybe 1 or 2 main video resources, which is best for you. And you also can use a couple of text resources, such as, for example, MBOS, First Aid, maybe Patoma. So to summarize, regarding resources, just remember that choice of resources is highly individual based on personal preferences and learning styles. And second main point is try to avoid overwhelming yourself with too many resources. Just choose two or 3 that you find comfortable and stick with them. So my next point is strategies for retaining and understanding high-yield material. So there are, of course, various methods for understanding and memorizing information, but I would say that all the most effective learning methods share one common trait. They are all involve active engagement with the information rather than just passive absorption. And there are a bunch of different methods, active methods of working with information. They include verbalizing information aloud, visualization, attempting to teach others, spaced repetition, and many others. But what I want to emphasize that in ACSOM, because one of the main features of our school is the small group learning, it's of course the best environment which you can imagine to use active learning techniques, such as, for example, flipped classroom, when you as a student try to teach other students. So again, since we are all individual, during your studies, you can discover which method of active engagement with information works best for you and use it. So my next point is approaching different types of questions and using practice exams effectively. And I would like to combine this point with the points 1 and 3 on the next slide. Yes, thank you. So the most important thing to note is that all step 1 questions can broadly be divided into main types: fact-based questions and test-taking skills questions. And often, of course, these are a combination of both. And while fact-based questions are straightforward, for test-taking skills questions, the most important skills are identifying key information in the question and using the process of elimination, as well as be effective in terms of time management. Therefore, what we always try to tell to our students is that they try to ask themselves not only why a particular answer choice might be correct, but also why the incorrect answers are wrong. And often this approach can lead you to the correct answer, even if you don't initially know correct answer. And even if you can't eliminate all the wrong options, you can still increase your chances of choosing the right answer if you guess between just 2 remaining options rather than the 5 you had initially. And when it comes to time management, we always tell to our students that if you encounter a difficult question, it's often better to mark it and move on. And if you have and if you have time left later, you can come back to it. It's going to be more efficient than spending too much time on just one question and not having enough time to address the others. And yes, my next point is effective use of practice exams. And regarding this, I would recommend using them closer to the exam date, since the number of available forms are limited. Ideally, after completing the full pass through QBank, for example, through AMBOSS, you should be able to pass practice tests with a passing score. But the main idea is that if you fail one of practice tests, it's a signal that you need to return to other resources that are learning tools rather than assessment tools. And you need to work on improving your weak topics and only then take the next practice test. Otherwise, it would be a waste of the resource. And regarding the last point, the common question patterns and pitfalls, what I want to say here is that yes, the question patterns and pitfalls, they do exist. And this is actually a distinct skill to be able to recognize the patterns and pitfalls. And again, that's why we spend a lot of time developing this skill with our students during the small groups. And the same, of course, applies to the traps, which can also be learned to identify over time. Thank you.
Again, my name is Maria, and this is my telephone number and my email address. I welcome you. I invite you to take that down so you can contact me with any questions you have along the way. So I do want to talk to you briefly about the admissions process. We already know how to prepare for the USMLE Step 1. We have learned about the many reasons why you should apply to ACSOM. Let's learn how to apply to ACSOM. So this is the list of criteria. You will need a bachelor's degree or higher. If you are in a different country like Canada or abroad, it will be an equivalent degree to a bachelor's. If you have questions about that, again, please contact me and I will offer you some clarity. Additionally, this is the list of actual courses that you will be required to have completed. 2 semesters of biology, 2 semesters of chemistry, 1 semester of organic chemistry, and 1 semester of math or biostatistics, as well as 1 semester of physics. So there are waivers depending on the transcripts and what they show. So we will need to see, even if they're unofficial transcripts, we will need to see those so we can make those determinations. So if you're missing one of these classes, don't fret. It's possible you may have taken something that we would be able to accept as a waiver. So please don't make that decision yourself. Go ahead and apply, and we will be able to assess that for you. Okay. So additionally, we will need the unofficial transcripts initially, like I mentioned. Down the line, we will need official transcripts. So keep that in the back of your head as well. We're going to need 2 letters of recommendation, 1 academic and 1 professional. So if you are still in school, or if you still have relationships, friendships with your professors, with the faculty, make sure to start asking for those letters. If you're still in school, develop those relationships, network with those professors so that they know about you and they can actually genuinely write a letter of recommendation on your behalf. So we will need 2 of those. At the time of applying, you do not need to have those in hand. So don't let that stop you from submitting your application. Additionally, you do need a resume up to date, not what you did until 2023. It has to be up to date, even if you're just shadowing or volunteering, all of that should be in your resume. We're also going to need a personal statement, which is your opportunity to present to us yourself in the best light possible. Tell us about your experience, your background, why is medicine your passion? Anything you think will be important for the admissions committee to know to make a qualified decision about your ability or your background. Please put that in your personal statement. It does not have to be very long. In fact, if you are articulate and concise and precise, it shouldn't be very long at all. And then finally, your MCAT score is mandatory. If you've taken it more than once, we're going to need all of the scores. MCAT scores, it's kind of hard because the MCAT is such a difficult exam and a lot of folks have anxiety around the MCAT. So if you feel that your score is not high enough, again, don't fret. That's my favorite line when it comes to applying. Don't worry. Let us make that assessment. It is possible that we could accept you to our prep program, Prep for Success, where you will not be required to have the MCAT. And the foundational studies that you receive during the prep program, which is a semester long on our campus, will actually serve in lieu of the MCAT. So if your MCAT is too low, or if you're not taking the MCAT for whatever reason, maybe you're in a different country, you might receive a waiver or you might be invited into our prep program. So don't worry about the MCAT. Let us make that assessment. And then the interview is the final step that is about an hour-long process, and that is with the admissions committee. They're going to determine, basically after reviewing your entire file, your transcripts, your letters of recommendation, your personal statement, everything in there, they're going to speak with you and assess yourself, your behavior, your maturity, how dedicated you are, how committed you are. They're going to ask you questions about your academic background, your experience, anything that they think is relevant, they will be asking you. I always recommend that you're on time, you're dressed professionally, everything you should be doing for a medical school interview. That is it. I know that's a lot, but it's feasible. It's possible. You can absolutely submit your application today after this webinar. There is no fee. And this is basically the first step for you. If you are accepted, that's fabulous. Congratulations. If you need to complete a few more steps, along the way, we're going to let you know that. And we're going to guide you throughout the entire process. So it's usually never a no, this is not going to be possible for you. It might be you need to retake this, or, you need to do the prep exam, or, anything like that. But most obstacles, we can overcome. You can overcome if you're committed and passionate and truly dedicated. So please, and I invite you again to contact me if you have any questions. That's my telephone number. That's my email address. I do want to go ahead and open up the stage now for our Q&A section. This is the QR, though, to the application. Go ahead and grab your phone and take that QR code down so that after the webinar, you can submit your application. So welcome back, everybody. Here's our esteemed panel. We're going to go ahead and discuss any questions there might be available for us at this time. Let's see. I know there was a lot of technical issues here and there, including with our audience. So I know there are a few portions missed. So in lieu of, might you post your email here? Yes, I'm going to post my email there. If anybody on the panel would like to post their email as well, that would be appreciated. But I will definitely be posting my email shortly for you. Does anybody on the panel have anything else you would like to add? I know we lost Arvin and Carrie there momentarily, but if you would say anything, I welcome you.
Great. Well, I was just going to thank our faculty for taking us through kind of the schema there for how our students are learning and how they're reviewing for their STEP exams. So they're learning to be physicians first, but that STEP exam is important, and it's really the only way that we test you on campus. Beyond the practice questions, all the exams you take that go into your grade for each module, whether it's honors or high pass or pass, those exams you're taking, every one of those questions has been written by the National Board of Medical Examiners, and they're the U.S. body that writes the United States medical licensing exams. And so I think when people ask about how our students are prepared and how they can be confident going into those exams, it's the only way that they've been tested the whole way through. So we're very confident in the performance of our students. We're starting our inaugural class is starting their third semester already. This time next year, they'll already be some weeks or a couple months into their first clinical rotation in Los Angeles. And so it's certainly something that's front and center in our students' minds as well. Let me ask the faculty. So, years ago, you've gone and taken the step one. Step one's changed. It's become more and more clinical with each advancing year. Is there any one resource that we're giving our students now that you wish that you had when you were studying for step one? I don't know. You could be the resource. Maybe it's TrueLearn. Maybe it's the MBME questions after that comprise every exam on campus. I'm not sure what it would be. Maybe it's something else. But if I could just hear from our faculty, what do we have now that you wish you had those years ago? Thank you.
Okay, I can start. Sorry, Michael. So definitely it's NBME and MBOS. Because, this is important, this is interesting, this is very useful resources. And so I did a self-assessment in NBME, but it's just it's like shelf exams, just exams before the real exam. And so it's like not enough to practice like questions that literally NBME created. And MBOS, so I remembered then during my preparation for USMLE, MBOS was not very popular, very like common, and it was kind of new resource. So I a little bit dive into it, but not too much. But now I understand that this is very good resource with literature, with a lot of concept pages, with videos, with links that we can go through and dive into the topic deeper. So that's my answer.
very, very different than just doing practice questions.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a much richer, format of support there now. Let's go to Michael, Mikhail, and Alina. Michael?
Yeah, so Sophia just like stole my thoughts because yes, for me during my preparation for step one, also something I now understand what was missing is the Ambos. So because Ambos is the additional Q bank, and it has this very good feature where you can read the article, for example, and you can then go through the questions which are specific for this topic. And this is very convenient when you prepare for exam like step one, for example. So this was very good feature, and I used the Ambos later in my preparation first for step two, sorry. And yes, this is very interesting and convenient feature.
I would like also emphasize Ambos because of Ambos concept pages. Ambos really has brilliant concept pages. I know that probably you all heard about UpToDate, like very good clinical resource, but Ambos actually has all the same features. Even more, in the Ambos, you can switch between student mode, for example, and clinician mode. And in the student mode, you can read all that you need for your preparations for step one or step two. And when you become clinician, you can use the clinician mode, and you can see when, let's say, what drugs, what dosage you should use. So it's very, very, very convenient. And beside others, all that we already mentioned above, I would like to emphasize Lecturio as well, because Lecturio and all these resources we have in our school, Lecturio has very, very good video lectures from esteemed doctors from top universities, like from Harvard. So when I prepared for my step one, I unfortunately did not have access to it, but now you all might have this access and you can get information directly from Harvard professor. So how could you imagine being in everywhere in the world in any medical school and get lectures from professors from the top universities in the world? And moreover, you can play with the video, come back, go next. So when you have a lecture from your Harvard professor, you will not ask him, "Hey, please repeat," or so. It's very, very, very convenient. Thank you.
Well, I totally agree. I'm a huge fan of Ambos, thanks to their library, thanks to their platform, and also their imaging results. They highlight where actually the pathologies are, which is very helpful. And also, I would like to mention TrueLearn platform. I didn't use it, but I find it helpful because it offers a good question bank with questions that closely mimic the format and difficulty of actual exams. That is so helpful.
That's great. Well, I'm glad to hear. We have a whole suite of resources, and it's I'm glad to hear that they're being put to good use. I think that's something that you'll see time and again. Is Dr. Bagapur, who graduated from a school in the Caribbean, went on to great success at Cleveland Clinic, trained interventional radiologist. He often goes back and thinks about what he wishes he had during medical school, or even what he had as a resource during residency, and maybe did not have. And I think that's really helped guide, really what's best in class. We're always looking for the best in class in terms of, support for our students and how we can help them learn. I should also mention Dr. White. Beyond being the campus dean, he's been a dean of other medical schools previously. And before all of that, in between, starting as a physiologist, kidney physiologist, he's also created departments for tutoring, for learning, for learning skills, not just for students, but also for faculty, looking at how people teach, looking at how they use resources, looking at how students, there's many different types of learners. And he's actually had quite an interest in how a university helps students diagnose that. and what resources and study techniques that students use accordingly. And so I have to say that, you know, Dr. White has a very strong hand here as well in terms of having the best resources here for our students. So, but I'm glad to hear that it's been a great experience for our faculty as well, because you know what's coming up for our students on the exams, and I know that you're guiding them how to use these resources. Thank you.
All right, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much, Mr. James, as well, for joining us tonight. And the entire ACSOM team, the faculty, everybody here is excited to welcome the audience, everybody at home watching. Welcome to our vibrant community of future doctors. Please do not miss this opportunity to join. Go ahead and use that QR code, submit your application, do it tonight, do it right after the webinar. When you do, send me a quick text or email and say, hey, Maria, guess what? I submitted my application, and I will look for it and congratulate you. And again, welcome you to our community. So wishing you all the best. Goodbye for now.
Thanks for having us.
Good evening.